everyone. Hope you are energized this morning. I'm here again, second panel discussion of the day. And we have been in the US after Thanksgiving. Brian, Nancy, and Enrique was starting the day with a beautiful session about thought leadership. And now we are going into a different topic, and we are traveling to Malaysia, my second home. So let's go and bring up the panelists. I will bring up first Emilia, who will be leading this session. Hi, Emilia. How are you today?
Hi, Andrea. How are you?
All good. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Yes, so nice, so nice. Let's bring up your other half, Aliyah. Hi, Aliyah. How are you?
Hi, Andrea. Thank you for having us again. And hi, Emilia.
I thought I want. Oh, hi, Elia. How are you?
Coping. Very excited to be here and looking forward to having some interesting conversations. Let's put it that way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's bring some gentlemen in the picture. Let's bring up Daniel. Hi, Daniel. How are you today?
Good morning. Very well. Thank you so much for having me this morning. So, so greetings to everyone who's watching.
Thank you so much for coming here. And then let's bring up Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. How are you?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And I hope you shopped a lot yesterday during the Black Friday sale.
Hi, thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Chela here from India. Hi, Chela. How are you today?
Hey, I'm not sure I'm going to match up with the energy which Emilia, Alia, and Cynthia is showing. Daniel, I think we need to pump up our energy, I guess.
Yeah.
Imagine the cafe. Imagine the cafe. It's 11 o'clock in Malaysia, and India is 2.5 before. So thank you so much for waking up so early and making this panel. So I will give the stage to Amelia. Have a beautiful conversation. She will tell you what are we talking about, and enjoy the 1 hour with this beautiful group from Malaysia. Let's go. The stage is yours, Amelia.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Hello, hi everyone. Welcome everyone once again. For those who actually joining us last year and for this year, I would like to actually welcome each of you to this session today. This is a very in Malaysia we call it a santai session. As usual, Alia and I, we do not follow the protocol. What protocol, right? So if you joined us last year, you should know how actually Alia and I will moderate the session.
Saturday.
We don't
It's a Saturday.
call it as a moderation because we also busybody going to jump in. Yeah, right. But of course, Alia and I welcome everyone to this session, and then we have three marvelous friends. I call it friends, right? That we basically steal from one another from every part of the world. We have Daniel with us, we have Cynthia with us, and we have Chela with us.
Thank you
Now,
guys for
maybe a
joining.
little bit, to talk about your background. Yes. Okay, you know Alia. I don't have to introduce her because she can introduce herself later. But here with us today, we have Daniel. Daniel is a consulting manager for Personal Cali, Malaysia. Right, Daniel?
Correct. So thank you again for having me here
Yeah.
today. So just a quick background here. I'm the consulting manager of Persol Kelly, Malaysia, specifically the head of the contingent workforce in Penang, overseeing the northern region. What we do, we are basically a HR consultancy service provider from end-to-end services relating to HR. So really happy and honored to be with everyone here in this beautiful Saturday morning, and returning it back to you, Emily.
All right. Okay, our next friend here, Cynthia Tang, is head of customer experience of Sunway Mall.
Hello, hi everyone. So Sunway Malls, we have 7
Cynthia,
physical
can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, hi. So Sunway Malls, we are the largest mall operator in Malaysia. We have 7 physical malls and 1 e-mall, and many more projects in the pipeline. So what I do in the Sunway Malls is actually I'm the head of customer experience, or in
Cynthia is my ex-colleague.
or another way, I'm actually the nosy one in the company, where I listen to the voice of customers and actually present it to the management, and we look for ways to actually improve it. So yeah, this topic is very important and also relevant to me.
Okay, here our friend from India. You already awake, right? Chela. Okay, Chela is the associate vice president and the global head
Yeah,
of
yeah.
DEI and leadership development of Bicon Biologic. So I will pass to you to introduce a little bit about yourself, Chela, because you holding quite extensive post there. So
Yeah.
big. So
So
can you
I
introduce
have,
yourself?
yeah, not sure. There is a bit of lagging. I don't know. It's only for me. But if you're not able to hear me, let me know.
We can hear you. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Chala.
So I'm part of global head of diversity, equity, inclusion, and of course, I'm also a design thinking coach and do a lot about innovation. And apart from that, I do some few more activities, but primarily I'm into culture, values, diversity, equity, inclusion.
It's a bit of lag there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We heard you,
Other
but there's a
device.
little bit of like, oh, he's left. Probably he needs to
Okay.
come in again.
Oh, I think actually we just lost Chala. Never mind. Okay, Alia, why don't you actually introduce a little bit about yourself, even though people know, and what do you do?
I think before I introduce myself, welcome everybody to the fourth Global Empowerment Summit. Amelia and I have been for the all four, and we're very happy to, transcend. Actually, the first Global Summit was actually specifically for women empowerment, and then we realized that the women can't do without men behind them, and the support that's needed. And so, yes, Daniel, we see you loud and clear, with the support. You've always been very supportive. Thank you. And last year, it was sustainability and digital transformation. And this year, it's the power of diversity in line with, of course, the whole world talking about diversity. So for me, I'm very, very diverse because I come from a multiracial background. I'm a mixed culture. And therefore, adaptation, diversity is part and parcel of my bread and butter today when I speak at avenues and conferences and panel sessions, and my name itself will tell you that I'm a very diverse person. But we go beyond that today. We want to have a more inclusive topic, especially when it comes to diversity at the workplace and the workforce and the people that we deal with, and how we are coping with diversity. What are we actually doing about it? Because, or is it just a word? Or is diversity just a word? Or is it a tick box where we say if we have Malay, Chinese, and Indian, just like panelists here today, that means we are very diverse? Is that what diversity is all about? We will indulge in that, Amelia. So, yeah, Amelia, back to you. And you're a part of the very diverse group itself. And thank you to Alchin and the Facebook user. I'm sorry we don't have your name, but yeah, actually, we're quite impressive, aren't we?
Yeah,
We'll
we
wait
can't
for
see
Chala to
you. So hi
today.
everyone. Yes, yes, we wait for Chela to come in. But while waiting for Chela, let me introduce a little bit about myself. I think some of you know me. My name is Emilia. I'm running the business and management consultancy called Q3 Management Solutions Berhad. So what we have done for the past, I think for the past 4 years, we have been enjoying ourselves in this global empowerment summit, because that's what you call it, the idea behind it, because everyone should be inclusive in whatever that we do, either in organization, in society, and so on. So I think today, Alia, we don't want to actually just yeah, Chela is in. Today topic we would like to actually talk about. I think this is the topic that Alia and I discussed. I think few months back, and then when we and personally, because I've been into all these organization, and some of the thing that actually we realize, or in fact in my own organization, right, we see so many, what you call it, problem is not solved. So the question today, hi Christian, okay, hi,
Hi,
okay,
Jack.
Christian also with us, I
Yes.
think last, yeah,
And
and
Jack too,
Andres
yeah.
too. Now
Hi, Christian.
the question that we would like to say is, what why there is so many problem at the workplace. There's so many challenges at the workplace, but that's only less people to come forward and solve the problem. So the title of today, we would like to actually to discuss about solving problem or just being nosy, or in Malaysia we call kepohchi. I'm not sure for those who actually from out of Malaysia, kepohchi mean that you keep interfering with other people's work. So in
Yeah, so
Malaysia, we have a special term for it. We call kepohchi. So yeah. So we would like to actually to talk about how to lead with this curiosity mindset in diversity, because we have different people from different background. Yeah, some of them actually know how to solve problems. Some of them do not sure how to solve the problem, and the best thing, some of them know how to complain, nosy, yeah, being nosy, but yet no solution actually provided to their company. So I think Alia, I will pass to you first to pick all of these
yeah.
three friends of ours. Who's going to answer first? The first, I think the question that we have here today.
Yes, thank you, Amelia. Yes, Amelia and I were talking about this, and we had a curious mindset ourselves. Today we have a very diverse background or diverse workforce, and we're just wondering, in all the three of you who are very much involved in the workforce itself, hands on with people management, with people, and Chela yourself as well in India, although you are sort of. Tipping your toes into global as well. So you will find that diversity seems to be the new word, as I mentioned just now. But is this just a tick box, or in Daniel's case, you are dealing with recruiters, you are dealing with companies? Do they have specific requests that they make, specifically like what we're talking about, problem solving skills, which we find is lacking? So is it problem solving skills lacking in a very diversified environment that we are in today, or are we just settling in and being quiet and doing whatever we need to do so that our KPIs are met, or are we getting involved in trying to solve problems in this very diversified environment that we are being part of? So that's something that Amelia and I are wondering, and maybe Daniel, maybe you could kick it off, and followed by Cynthia and Chella, and let's see where this conversation leads.
Okay, so just for context, we talk a lot about diversity. So just for everyone's information, I come from a mixed parentage myself. I'm half Chinese, half Thai, and with that context, we're talking about a mixed cultural upbringing. And now, I have a beautiful family. My wife is a Filipino, and my kid, well, he's carrying three heritage. So with that said, right, growing up, diversity is already in my DNA. Having have to adhere to different specific cultures, the respects of the customs, and as I grew up into the marketplace, that is clearly more evident. We in Malaysia, we are very blessed with multiracial community over here. Now, coming back to your question earlier regarding how are we able to solve certain problems that we face regarding diversity in the workplace, I do not pretend to have all the answers. After all, the answer is in the definition of diversity, isn't it? So while I may drive to lead a team, that we could work towards the meeting, or at least trying to discover a certain a fix or resolution for that particular challenges. Perhaps yes, I may have a say, an opinion, but that's where the beauty of diversity lies, isn't it? Where we listen to our team members and we drive towards that collective goal in the end. So it's about partnering one another within the people who we work with, whether or not they are team members, whether they are our clients, or even our stakeholders, vertically or even horizontally. And with that, hopefully we are moved towards the direction where our values align personally against the corporate values.
Right. Thanks, Daniel. Cynthia, how diverse is your team in Sunway Mall?
Okay, yesterday, before this session, I actually looked up the meaning of diversity, and actually, it encompasses a lot of things besides race, gender, ethnic groups. religion, and many other things. But at the workplace, besides those things, the demographic per se, we also work with colleagues across departments. That's also diversity as well. For example, if you're talking to a colleague from the accounts departments or finance department, they have certain understanding of some things, and maybe you talk to someone from customer service, then they have certain understanding of some things as well. So to me, that's diversity as well. So when, for me, in terms of a customer experience, because I work across multiple departments, sometimes when I approach different departments, I have to use different techniques and styles to talk to them so that they will be able to understand my language and also understand where I'm coming from. At the end of the day, we have an objective to meet, we have the value to drive. So where we are going to, we are heading towards the same direction.
Right. Thanks, Cynthia. That's an interesting way of looking at it when you also encompass, what do you call it, various departments and how you need to work across those departments or with those departments, and it becomes a very diversified. And we're
Yeah,
talking
what I like Alia, because she did mention that is actually is not about it's not about gender, it's not about
race
race.
and
So
religion.
many
Yes,
ways of looking into diversity, to see into inclusivity, right? When we talk about it.
correct.
Okay, Mak
It
Chana.
also from the men, yeah, who got the most number of people in the world, right? You've
Yeah,
got the
in
most.
the world, yes, Chana.
How diverse is India?
How diverse is your team? I know because biologics, right, have a numbers of branches. I can say companies around the world. So how diverse you are when it comes to organization as well.
Yeah, so thank you. And there are multiple different ways to look at from based on your question. This, from India, it's diverse, and everybody knows how diverse the country is. And from the company perspective, we are a very diverse company. They're in existence for 45 years, and the diversity has been part of our. Uh, I normally say it's deeply woven in the fabric of our culture, because it's been like that. And we do have a huge facility in Malaysia. There are about close to 1,000 employees, and we have a great diversity in Johor Bahru where we exist in Malaysia, whether be it at races or be it in gender, and also beyond the gender to look at people with disabilities or back to work programs. So we are in a pioneering on a spearheading a lot of diversity, equity, inclusion. But I'll also take your question from the curiosity, problem solving, inclusion, and diversity. So there is a lot of connection here. Number one, from our perspective, curiosity fuels innovation, right? The fueling for innovation has to be curiosity. On the other hand, inclusion drives innovation, right? So now innovation is in the center. On the periphery, you see one side inclusion, one side curiosity. So, for any successful problem solving, if an organization or a country can enable these two, so it means you need to enable inclusion, it means you need to embrace diversity. If there is no diversity, there is no need for inclusion, right? If we all have same race, same color, same religion, same mindset, then we don't need diversity. It is all the same. So because there is a diversity, like Daniel said, is in the DNA. So there is a diversity, hence you need an inclusion. So that's one part to innovation. Second, the curiosity. A lot of times there is a generational barriers for curiosity. Simple example: a child or a youngster comes and says an idea, somebody who is experienced knock it off, saying you don't know, and we don't give that importance. Or it could be other way around. Gen Z goes to Gen X and says, you're old timer, you don't understand. Many kids says to parents, right? So these gaps have to be addressed. So we are embracing the curiosity and
In Malaysia, they call it dinosaur.
exactly accept people as they are. Inclusion flourish, innovation happens, the problem gets solved.
Right.
I want to echo on what Chella said about the dinosaur age and all those, right? Actually, we need to actually emphasize on lifelong learning. Even let's say we are at the 50s, we are at the 60s, we are 70s, it's never too old to learn something new. So we need to be curious all the time because, like for example, during the COVID days, we start to learn about, our parents start to scan the QR code to enter any premises. They don't know what is actually QR code, and they learn. So, and then it becomes a norm. So the curious mind, how it works, actually drives innovation.
Yeah. Okay, great. Actually, that's true. There's so many terms. I think came out recently. Dinosaur, Gen Z, strawberry, strawberry generation, and so we keep calling others with
Some
some
terminology.
terms. That sometimes yes, it's not that. Now let's come to our next question. Actually, there is a perception say that more people now who enter the workplace, to enter to our companies, or to enter the workplace after their graduation, they are without strong problem solving, or they do not have this critical thinking or even creative mindset. So how do you see this as one of the challenges, that one of the things that actually contribute to the challenges in the organization? Maybe we can actually go young people. Okay, we go to Cynthia first. Now, Cynthia, because I'm sure, because in your line, customer experience who actually really have frontline, you have the frontline people who basically treat all your customer who walk into your mall. And we know, for customer experience or even customer service back then, it's not easy to get a talent for that area. But with this statement, they said that the people who entering workplace do not have this kind of problem solving skill, critical thinking mindset. What do you take on this?
All
Yeah.
right. For me, when I start with the hiring process first, so even though I hire, let's say, for example, customer service personnel, I don't just look for someone who's pleasant or someone who actually has nice smile and also nice how to say outlook and all those. But I also look at some of the ways, like whether they can able to problem solve as well. So usually I will give them some scenarios, and like for example, certain cases, or let's say customer slip and fall, a customer argue with somebody in the shop and whatsoever. How do they deal with the problems? So from there, actually, I shortlist those who actually can handle those situations. Then, of course, they will be shortlisted, for the next step. So when it comes to the day-to-day job, customer service, I would say, is one of the most stressful job, because you deal with multiple customers at the front, or maybe from the calls or from the chats. And these people can be sometimes very mean or nasty, because they just want to rant about certain issues that they have. So the patience level, of course, for the team is actually should be very high. And we actually educate the team on certain steps of how to handle certain situations. Main thing is actually to calm themselves first, that these customers are not scolding you because you are at fault. It's because of something else. So at the end of the day, when you try to solve the issues, you try to go into the root cause and handle it, then it will make your life easier. Then you can go home and become calm and zen.
Yeah, I think one of the other component that to marry into these two words of ethical thinking and problem solving is also creative thinking, right? And I'm sure when you have such a huge or large group of people like Chella handling, or Daniel being thrown into a situation where this might be, or is this a requirement today, in order to fulfill those gaps that we talked about, or Chella brought up, earlier, those gaps. What are your thoughts on these three main issues that we seem to be facing, or rather we hear of people facing in the work, which is critical thinking, creative thinking, and also problem solving skills? Maybe Chella, you want to go, and then Daniel can just continue after that.
So I'm going to tie it back to what I said earlier. Uh, these three are very important, right? So creative thinking, critical thinking, and problem solving. And in a manner, it's interlinked. If you have a critical thinking and you have a great level of creative thinking, it helps you to not only solve problem, also to innovate, right?
Yeah.
So we are a company with innovation for last 4 decades. So our culture is innovation, and our culture is inclusion, right? The reason why inclusion innovation continue to be there for many decades is because these two are interlinked, right? So coming back to your question earlier, if critical thinking and creative thinking is encouraged in an organization, then problem gets solved, and then also innovation happens. But where I see a problem is diversity brings a lot of creative thinking, right? By virtue of diversity, there are a lot of creativity there. For example, every human being has certain level of creativity which is untapped. To tap into the creativity, you need an environment, and that environment has to be inclusive enough, right? Even in a simple boardroom, there are a lot of women leaders say that women don't get a voice, right? And the reason why women don't get a voice is not necessarily it is an individual problem or a self bias or a self doubt. It's an opportunity, right? So how do we create an opportunity for to hear everybody's voice? How do we create an opportunity for Gen Z to give a voice? Today, Gen Z are suffocating, saying, we have brilliant ideas, we have creative thinking, but no one listens to us, and no one gives that opportunity. So, in my opinion, environment will play a huge role. And in our organization, we create that environment. And sometimes, not all those who speak first are with great ideas, right?
True, true.
In the sense, extroverts, people generally take opinion from extroverts and walk away.
Yeah.
But brilliant ideas are sitting with introverts. They need to be nudged, or they need to be asked again, or they need to be pushed. So I think a good place, good organization who encourages both extroverts and introverts and all kinds of people, and that's what will really enable.
Oh, interesting. Yes, I echo with you on that. Currently, we're dealing with a lot of scholars, university scholars, who are teenagers and going into adulthood, or rather in their early 20s. And many of them actually have many innovative or interesting ideas. But only when you prod them, you will actually hear about these ideas. Otherwise, they are sit back, relax, let others speak. And yeah, I do agree with you that that seems to be the the trend, like let me keep these ideas to myself. And I'm wondering whether that's going to be helpful, Danny, considering that a lot of them will end up with internship, leading to the workforce, right? Obviously we know that's not a good habit, but what's your take, or what's your opinion on these few, like what we said, interrelated between critical thinking, problem solving, creative thinking, and how crucial is that? We know it's important, but how are we managing that? How are we pushing that in as a need in the workforce today?
Okay, so let's pretend that the younger generation, for example, okay, they have the drive to pursue, all right, and perhaps they may not have the opportunity to showcase their creativity or even their risk-taking appetite. So then the question comes to us, well, like Celia mentioned earlier, being inclusive is one of the ingredients needed, and the other is, of course, the a safe space to allow mistakes to happen, to have a calculated risk, and how much of an allowance are mistakes allowed to take place, and can we afford for it to happen? And should it happen, what are the plans, alternatively, to then counter and recover from that situation? So in my context, I've hired a fair bit of fresh graduates from all walks of life, regardless of their backgrounds or their trainings, and they are currently in my team in working out in the human resource industry. All right, just for example. So here's the thing. Again, for the context of those who are hungry, who's got that drive to move forward, being inclusive is obviously asking the what, why, how, where, when answers that creates a conversation, provoking their thoughts to have open-ended answers to spur what is it that is in their mind, to then develop a conversation from there. And we, perhaps as mentors or even people managers, some say, are then supposed to be there to mentor them, guide them accordingly, and give in our thoughts. The problem of this not happening is assuming if the leadership level or the layer does not allow creativity to grow, It's all about, oh, I'm up there, I've done it before, I've been in the workforce for plenty of years, or even personally, I'm much older than anyone. I know best, so this is the absolute. So I'm not just talking about the workplace, I'm talking about generally in life, for young parents. So for example, if you have young children and, perhaps you may have some anecdotes from our parents trying to push down, in terms of how to care for children and yada, 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 you know, that's also another example. So we're not just talking about just in the workplace, we're just talking generally. So why I'm saying this is because, I've said earlier from the context of growing up in a multicultural and racial family background, and now I am in the marketplace. How I define nurturing creativity, or at least creative thinking, critical thinking, and all those values is perhaps take a chance. Someone took a chance on me previously. All of us started from somewhere. And what are the calculated risks? What kind of risk appetite do we have to allow that to nurture? If it falls, is there a safety net for us to pick up and then recover from there? So these are among the contributing factors perhaps we may want to consider as well.
Well said, Daniel. I think Milia will take the question from the audience. I think it's quite an interesting question since all three of you come from a very different business perspective here, and with a diverse workforce, behind you leading towards what you're actually doing. The question is, how can businesses attract and retain a diverse workforce? Anyone would like to, go ahead with it and jump in, and meanwhile we're reading the
Take
interesting
up that
comments.
question.
Yep. So anyone for business?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it. See, it's not a number game. Many times people think there is a company wants to increase the diversity just for sake of it. Uh, well, in some places it happens because today we are talking about ESG, right? In ESG has certain mandates and you have certain advantage, and so some of them doing that, which is also good because that's one way to promote diversity and inclusion in an organization. There is a governing body which talks about what's your ESG score, which is good. I'm not demeaning that. This is really good. But if one understands that diversity, equity, inclusion is just not good to have, it's must have because it has linked to three P's: profitability, productivity, and performance. Right. So it has direct link to these three. And if the companies understand that, then you will find ways to attract because there are whole lots of talent in the market. Right? And some talents are ready-made. Some talent you have to hire at an early stage and build them. You go to colleges, you get great diversity. Whether in Malaysia, India, and some of the countries I worked, everywhere there is a good balance. But just that you need to go and bring. You need to come out of a stereotype to say that these roles cannot be done by one gender, right? If we start thinking that manufacturing cannot be done by certain people or certain age or certain gender, or we say subject matter expert has to be 15 years experience, then where will the freshers go, right? So we all were freshers at one point in time. So we need to have the balance of bringing freshers, addressing the diversity there, then having back to work. There are so many women have taken a career break and wanting to come back to organization. The returning mothers, right? How do we create an opportunity for them? How do we boost their confidence and bring them back? How do we upskill them? So there are many ways to do that, and I don't see that would be a problem. The problem is the mindset of people to have a balanced workforce. It is never availability of talent, in my opinion.
Spot on. You're spot on. I think we have, the talent.
I
is
think
never.
great sharing there. Yes, great sharing there, Stella. But I have a question. This is derived to another question. I like the statement that you say are ready-made. So that will not be a problem. I think as a business owner, from SME business owner, all these talent will be still by the big giant company like Cynthia and yours. So only left us with other talent who might not be suitable for this because they are ready made. So they are good talent. So perhaps I think one of you can share how to the ready-made talent is one issue. It's solved by on its own. But how to actually make sure the talent that is not ready-made to be ready to basically contribute to their to the company, to the employer. But perhaps you can share
You're
some
referring to the
tips.
existing talent, are you, Amelia? Yeah, the
Yes,
existing talent.
because Chela just mentioned, these talents are ready-made, blah blah blah.
Ready-made
Okay,
talents.
fine.
Okay, so
But how about if the talent is not ready-made? They came to the workforce, and all these ready-made will be serving the big corporates and also left you for
fresh
SME
talent.
business like us. Yeah.
Right. So fresh talent.
So how to make them ready?
How do you groom and get them
Yeah,
ready?
I'll just
Yes, how you groom your team.
I like Cynthia and Cynthia to also address, but one point I'll say, build versus buy, right? Building versus buying. How much your appetite, or how much your appetite in the organization? How many talent you want to build? How many talent you want to buy? I think that's the difference, and you should be open to both, right? One side you build, one side you're able to buy. I'll let other panelists take this question.
All right, I'd like to share an experience. So I think about more than 5 to 6 years back, or pardon me, I can't remember the numbers. Um, MH370 happened, MH17 happened, and Malaysia Airlines laid off a lot of airline crew. So Amelia and I, we were both from the Malaysia Airlines. So during that time, we were building our team, customer care team. So we hire in the ex crew to be part of our customer care team because they already have ready knowledge on customer service, but they don't have any knowledge to do with malls. So from there, we took them in because they have the basics already on handling passengers, handling people, and then from there, we actually groom up and upskill them. And now my team can even handle the social media, customer service, and also not only the face-to-face but also the online customer service as well. So this is how we actually groom them from zero to hero and where they are. And now they are taking on projects, they are taking on some stats works and also some analysis work as well. So it's not only just taking them in from what they were and how the organization grew them to the next level to bring value to the organization, to the company.
I echo that as well. So we're now diving into transferable talents. Earlier, I did mention that I took a fair bit of a risk on fresh graduates, and some of them were not entirely fresh. They were young professionals from all diverse backgrounds, different trainings, different qualifications. But here we are together in the HR business and a HR consultancy services for that matter. So it boils back down to a certain risk appetite as well of allowing that room to fail, for them to explore, and from there see what they make out of it. Now, obviously, we have to also understand that while we present an opportunity, whether they take up the opportunity or not, that boils down to the individual. That we cannot control. But what we can is to pave a way, a pathway for them to take it up. Okay, so uh, again, it all boils down to different people managers. Myself personally, I would prefer, that's what Chelia has mentioned earlier, is to build internally and to groom from the bottom up. But of course, there may be some times if the need arises, then we may look at external options, and that's where external hirings come in to value add to the existing skill sets.
Okay, thank you. Great sharing. Now it goes back to our burning question. Now, for the past, I think half an hour, we're talking about how to bring in this more problem solving curiosity mindset to the talents and all that. So how about if you have talent who are very nosy, very kepohchi, that can always see the problem, that can only see other people's not doing their job. They can see things but they don't come up with a solution, and I'm sure every organization you're going to face this type of person. They see everything is everything is a problem, Yeah, without realizing they are the problem because they do not do their job because they're busy. They're busy
Busy
going
being busybody.
going around the organization, touching other people's busybody. They're touching other people's job, other people's department. So they are considered the radio of the radio of the company. They go around and being busybodies. So how we actually handle this type of people who actually always see problem, but they never have the solution to the problem that they are concerned about. So maybe things that anyone can share your own experience looking to this kind of challenges at your workplace. Cynthia, you can go first.
Usually, I will throw the question back to the
Cynthia, Malaysian company, so we ask Cynthia go first.
Usually, I'll throw the question back to them. So, like for example, if someone were to complain to me saying that well, the artwork of certain press app is not nice, for example, complaining that oh, this particular designer is doing a bad job and the colors is not nice or whatever, then I'll throw the question back. So, what do you think is nice? So then it gets them to think. Then they'll be like, sometimes they'll get caught off guard. So sometimes they may not be able to answer you, give you an answer. But if you do this repeatedly a few more times, then the next time this person were to come to you with a problem, they will come with a recommendation as well. So this is how I encourage the team to actually, move away from that. But of course, we can't stop this, the kepohchis or maybe the nosy ones. It will still happen in any organization. But of course, we want to encourage to speak up, to let them when they speak in a way that it's positive and that's actually context, and also it's something that's objective rather than just complaining. So they don't complain just for the sake of complaining, and we want them to steer towards giving us recommendations for a betterment.
So
So Daniel, I think for you, I have a special question.
plenty. So do you
Yeah,
want me to still
you've been
address
doing
that?
recruitment, Daniel. I'm pretty sure you have.
Mhm.
Yes, you have some talent who you keep placing the talent to the organization, and after that they come back to you with some sort of reason. Why they cannot stay long in that company. So how do you see that coming to you, Daniel?
Oh, well, for the record, so far I've yet to receive such scenarios because, again, it just so happens that staffing is just one of the services Sol Kelly offers. And in the staffing business, is more often than not, our role is as a matchmaker to ensure that it is the right fit for both parties. So, your scenario that you mentioned, if should it happen, is a nightmare. It's a no-no. But you're right that although it does not happen to that scale, there are still certain clarifications required. Not necessarily negative, but it's just that um, to align certain differences that they've discovered once they're in there. But more so than not, if not all the time, we are able to address it and iron out all the wrinkles. Now, but as what you posed the question to Cynthia earlier, uh, we cannot avoid such personalities exist in all these places now, our workplace for that matter, right? So some may be finding them annoying, yes, but assuming if that does happen, I mean, I've had my fair share of experience myself. Normally, there is a think tank task force created within the work group to look for how we can reconstruct and re-engineer processes, typically for any compliance reasons or auditing reasons, right? So that's where we may need such personalities, such characters that's got a very, very critical eye. They may not necessarily have all the answers on how to fix it, but let's be honest, we still need such characters to actually point us where are the cracks in the walls for us to actually look into, and whether or not do we have the answers to fix that at that point in time. That obviously will then boil down to the diversity of the group, where we then come together to brainstorm accordingly. So definitely similar to what Cynthia says as well, to include that person into a think tank, because from a negative, suppose there is a positive outcome from all this when there is a person who's somehow have that talent to find out, oh, there's a flaw. who's to say if that person may be very well suited to be in a compliance team, to be an auditor for that matter.
Yeah, sometimes these characters can be a source of entertainment as well, and also can be a devil's advocate as well to actually spark certain questions and make us have the aha moment. Yeah, it's right. Even though she doesn't have the recommendations or whatsoever, but yeah, it points out certain things that's happening in the.
Exactly. Yeah.
Entertainment, Cynthia?
But of course, when it gets too much, then it becomes toxic. So we, as leaders, we need to control where is actually the line that this person should stop.
Yeah, I agree with Cynthia on the last point. Just to add a little bit of humor in here. For 2 decades, I lead a team of doctors and nurses, right? And you get all these complaints that you really need to listen because it involves patients and involves patients' families, etc., etc. So I reached a point where I actually had to say, when you come to me with problems, bring suggestions along, and together we'll find a solution. So therefore, I was not having to just listen to problems and give answers all the time. And it became very easy for them if you do so, because it's like I throw you the problem and the boss will find the solution, right? So I changed that, and it miraculously it worked.
Yeah.
So automatically they needed to do some homework when they came with the problem, and like Cynthia said, I think many of the solutions were things that I probably did not even think, or it made my life so much easier. And together we came up with solutions, and that solved a lot of problems at the workplace. So probably you can remember these problem suggestions and solutions. Probably that those can be tried. Try, give it a go.
One
Yeah.
thing
I
which
think I have to use
worked for
another
me,
term for the young people nowadays.
Chana.
Healing.
sorry,
Every
I
time
was
they
saying,
come to you with the problem, okay, go healing. Okay, so, Chala, please.
a little bit of lag, little bit of lag in the video, but I hope you're able to hear me. So what I was to say was, one thing it worked for me and my organization, and with the circle which whom I interact. Uh, to solve a problem, if you have an empathy approach, and then I'm linking back to design thinking, right? So one of the wonderful tool I found in towards innovation or towards solving a problem is design thinking, and the step one in design thinking is empathy. So before you jump into solve a problem through ideation process, you start thinking about whom are we solving this problem, and being in their shoes and understand from them, and then you go on derive at a problem statement, and then you refine your problem statement, then move to the third step, the ideation stage. Then of course you do prototype and test. How this helps is, you will not end up solving a problem in your own intelligence, rather you will do it for the person who's going to be benefited from the problem. So this helps in innovation. This helps in solving problems. So I thought I'll share that to the audience. If somebody is already using design thinking, they know what I'm talking.
Nice. Amelia, let's wrap this up as we see Andrea's already in here indirectly reminding us, like, guys, it's time to wrap up.
Yeah. Yes, it's like it's time to wrap up, Alia. I think it's very very meaningful one. We talk from the diversity, then we talk about the problem solving. We talk about the attitude behind, the people, across diverse people that we have in the organization. We even put a little bit, talking about the people who being nosy, and of course, I agree with what Chelas said. There's ways, and even though Cynthia and Daniel have actually pointed to certain things, we can't have everything smooth in our organization. Sometimes we do have these people, this one or two people who really, how can I say that, shape the boat. Yeah, things that actually happening around around our workplace. So from my side, I can just wrap it up with looking into problem solving is about actually giving them, a right the right tools, yeah, the right growth for them to be able to actually to understand when they come to the boss with the problem. They always have possible solution that we can discuss and find the solution forever. So next time, guys, I think from me, where every time you come to your boss with the problem, please make sure you have 1 or 2 points how to solve the problem.
True, true. And for
Okay, Alia,
me,
how about you?
yeah, thanks. Before we end, thanks guys for being on, on this panel with us. Yes, echoing with Emilia's points, I think this is actually what makes the workforce or the people around us, not necessarily the workforce, but the teams that we work with, very, very diversified, because you have all sorts of people around us, right? So regardless of how they act or react, whether it's at the workforce or within the teams, within groups of people that we have. This is diversity, and we learn to adapt, we learn to have empathy, we grow with the diversity, and we learn to manage. And I think that that's the beauty of this all, otherwise we're not learning anything. So this is true. This is the power of diversity, in line with the theme for the Global Empowerment Summit. And thank you once again. And we do hope that you have caught up with some fantastic ideas and suggestions from our panel members. And again, on behalf of Emilia and I, thank you very, very much to Cynthia, Chela, and Daniel for being with us this morning to have this creative conversation. Back to you, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for everyone, and Emilia and all the team here, Cynthia, Chela, and Danielle. It was an amazing conversation. We had a lot of questions, so please, after we finish, go to the YouTube channel and answer the questions that came from the audience. I marked them questions from the audience, so it will be easy to find them. And it's an interesting topic. We could talk about it more and more and more, but we have a short time. So I wish you a beautiful weekend. Thank you for coming on a Saturday to express whatever you think about this beautiful topic. Thank you for the audience. Christian, Betty, Jack, Sean,
Yes.
Five
Thank you guys for
Fisty,
listening.
and everyone.
Yeah, there's so many
Yeah,
questions
there are a lot of questions
in
we
the
couldn't
chat. I just
answer.
realized that I can keep, yes, keep entertaining, and let's go to have our healing moment after this.
Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day. And I say goodbye to the audience. We are jumping in another studio. Thank you so much, guys. Have a beautiful lunch together with your families. Bye.
Bye bye.